recently, Rollo Tomasi stopped by the No Jumper podcast, where in his long interview, he had some smoke for a few people. One is mediocre tutorials and reviews, and secondarily, just dusty things. I'm sorry, just pearly things. Sorry. It's now just Pearl. That's her name, Pearl. So that's what happened there. But rewind, Emma. Remember who Rollo Tomasi is. He's very influential in the white manosphere space. He's written a few books like The Rational Male. He's considered a thought leader. A lot of the new guys in that space look up to him as somebody who has created the bridge to understand women's nature and things like that. And this is one of the reasons why Fresh and Fit reached out to him, because he gives them a level of credibility. And it's very similar to what Just Pearly Things did. She wanted Rollo Tomasi to mentor her, but Rollo Tomasi didn't want to mentor her. In fact, Rollo Tomasi felt a certain kind of way about Pearl, that she was pretty much just a grifter. Let's check out that comment.
A lot of people think like, why are you attacking Pearl? Rollo, why did you attack her? Isn't she like carrying on the tradition? Isn't she like a good No, she's not a good representative of the red pill. And I will show you in great detail why she is a hack. For the same reason that I think now is a critical moment for people to pay, especially if this is like, if you're in the red pill and you're like consuming this content, I'm hoping that I think it's key to develop critical thinking skills. I've always said, regardless of what you do, if you want to learn to play guitar or whatever, if you want to like learn to code, you still have to have good critical thinking skills. I think critical thinking is at a premium today, and in no other realm than in the manosphere, particularly because there's a lot of people who would very much like you to just sort of pass off and think that Greta Thunberg is the one who took down Andrew Tate. Okay. So, because most people will do that. And John from Model Life Dating was talking about like how, most people are idiots. Yeah, they are. Most people are idiots. Okay. But Pearl's an idiot who can get Andrew Tate on her show. And Pearl's an idiot who will take, Brittany Renner seriously. And I want to, before I even get into I'm not even going to get into her video with Brittany Renner. I could probably spend all day on that one. But Brittany Renner is clinically bipolar. Provably clinically bipolar. You take her videos and that are still part of her Instagram, proudly part of her Instagram. Take those videos where she's talking about it was this. Hey y'all. That's where that video that I stole that sound drop from. That video is still up on her Instagram. Go look at Stepdaddy season. Go look at the videos where she's like sucking down Chardonnay and yelling at her camera like incoherently. She becomes whoever you expect her to be on whatever show she happens to be on. And now that she's 20, she's looking for sympathy right now. She's in the epiphany phase, really. But she's criminally insane. Seriously. If you would have like a clinical psychologist go and analyze her, yeah, she's crazy as She is bipolar.
So as you can see, he doesn't really think highly of her. However, they were able to mend some fences. And then they started to collaborate at some point, at least once or twice. But I want you to hear what Tomasi has said about Pearl in this new video on No Jumper.
So during the Ethan and Pearl debate,
here we go. All right.
Yeah, right? If you feel me? Right?
Shift gears.
Yeah, right? Pearl quoted like one of like your studies where, yes, like you was talking about it, right? And she said that that violent felons have more kids than non-violent felons, right?
That was my study, actually. That's Rolf Dingen who brought that up. But
yeah, right? Mm-hmm. And Ethan asked her to quote her source, and she said, Rollo.
Yeah.
Right?
And of course, I'm quoting Steve Stewart Williams. I'm quoting Rob Henderson. I'm quoting God Sod. I'm quoting Rolf Dingen. I'm quoting Dr. David Buss, right? I'm quoting those people, but like, what was Rollo? He was the one who told me this.
Yeah, right?
Goes, clean up my mess. I shit the bed. Come on, clean it up. Yes.
Yeah. No, right. And then Destiny accused you of texting Pearl talking points Like mid-debate.
I don't say jack shit to Pearl anymore. No, especially after that bullshit she pulled with Nick Fuentes, man. No.
Oh, okay. Speak on that.
I do not talk to Pearl anymore. I've completely cut her off. She is
why?
Because she's a shit person, man. She's a bad actor, man. And I the whole thing that went down with Nick Fuentes on the first pass, right? I didn't care. Like people go, "Oh, what do you got against Nick Fuentes?" I don't have anything against Nick Fuentes. What I have is against Pearl because it's like she's talking to Nick Fuentes like she doesn't know who the fuck he is. I'm like, he was just on Tim Pool. It was the most watched live stream that Tim Pool has ever had. He had Kanye West, Nick Fuentes, and Milo Yiannopoulos are on, and probably Sneeko in the back somewhere, right? All of them on there, and they walked off the show because Ye started talking about, the Australian or the Austrian painter and the Germans of 1938, right? Yeah. And so he walks off. It's like the most watched show that Tim Pool has ever done, and you don't know who Nick Fuentes. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh no. Well, right. And then months prior, right? So Adam asked her, "Would you date Nick Fuentes?" And she said, "Yeah."
Yeah, see, she knows damn well who he is, but my problem had nothing to do. And everybody thinks now I have a problem with Nick Fuentes, but it wasn't that. It was the fact that she was trying to say, "Well, I didn't know who he was." That's how she operates. I didn't know. No, you did fucking know, and you got caught with your fucking pants down. That's why. So I was trying to be cool with her. I had people saying, "Hey, man, maybe it was actually for Mike Sartain because Mike Sartain wanted to do some interviews with her and stuff." I'm like, "All right, that's cool. I'll reach out to her, talk to her." I started mending fences with her, and I'm trying to do that recently. I've been talking to Mike Rashid recently, and I like Mike quite a bit. But so I'm kind of trying to put out olive branches and say, "Hey, maybe we got off to a bad start," kind of thing. I was actually trying to help her during the whole time when she was getting accused of being a racist. And you had was it MTR? Mediocre tutorial reviews guy was coming at her really hard, and all these people were giving a real hard time. And I was trying to say, "Hey, look, you're gonna have to weather this." So I'm trying to be cool with her, and so we had something going. I was talking to her somewhat regularly for about 6 weeks, and then the tweet came out that I put out, which was the vasectomy tweet, right? And then she was like, "Oh, do you want to talk about it? We'll have you on the show. I want to interview you." I'm like, all right, I'm thinking, okay, now maybe it's okay. I'll go do it. And I even was saying hey, look, I'm cool with her on my own podcast and everything. And I get on there, and for the first 20 minutes, she's asking me about it. I'm trying to explain, what my thought process was.
Virtually or in person?
It was on StreamYard. It was Zoom. No, it was a Zoom call. Zoom. Okay. It was a Zoom call. And so I'm on there, and I'm talking to her, and she seemed like she was all about it. And then she's like, well, 5 minutes before we were supposed to go, she goes, "I'm going to take some phone calls, during the thing." I'm like, all right, fine. Sure, okay. It wasn't phone calls. It was Isabella Moody. It was Nick Fuentes. It was Bryson, and then there was another dude that was on there.
She ambushed you.
And Glenn actually came. I invited Glenn.
Oh, she ambushed you then.
Yeah, basically ambushed me. And Nick Fuentes is on there, and I'm like, really? And again, they're all just waiting in the wings, and she brings them in, at a certain time, and I'm like, so that's where this is at. And I just said, fuck this, and I bailed out. I didn't have anything to do with her anymore after that. I'm just this.
She tried to go viral.
So you see, he feels like number one, her collaboration with Nick Fuentes is a problem. Do you know who this guy is? What he deals with? In other words, hey, Nick Fuentes has a racist reputation, and you shouldn't be dealing with that guy. And then also secondarily, he has a problem because he feels that she ambushed him. So that's why he can't deal with her anymore. She betrayed his trust. But this is interesting. I want to play a clip of Myron issuing out a threat to Tariq Nasheed and mention who he says he wants the debate partner to be in a racial debate. Let's play that clip.
And honestly, if it's me and Nick, I'll take on Tariq and Umar. We'd absolutely destroy them. We would absolutely destroy them.
So wait a minute, Rollo. Right there, we have just heard that your boy Myron wants to debate Tariq Nasheed and Umar Johnson with Nick Fuentes, the same person that you have a problem with when it comes to Pearl. And you're always over there on Fresh and Fit. The difference is Fresh and Fit would never ambush you with Nick Fuentes, all right? And secondarily, they bring you a lot of money and a lot of exposure, that which you would not have had. And do you hear what he said about the alleged supposedly racist thing? Again, listen to what they said, right? He never told her, hey, you know, you have some of these racist allegations. You're wrong for that. No, what did he tell her? You need to go ahead and weather this storm. You see the language in that? Weather this storm. He never talked about how he held her accountable like MTR did. You see, that's subtle racism, in my honest opinion. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not even the biggest kind of racism, kind of blamer kind of person. But when I hear white folks talking like this guy, I understand what it means. You see? And he supports Fresh and Fit, right? We know what Fresh and Fit stance is when it comes to African Americans. And he's always over there with them. And his problem with Nick Fuentes may not have anything to do with black people. His problem with her and Just Pearly Things is that she ambushed him with Nick Fuentes for whatever personal issue there is. So again, we know where Rollo Tomasi stands on that. But when it comes to her being a trash person and all of that, yeah, it's kind of hard to, let me leave that alone. But you know, even Ree and Rollo can agree at least on one thing. And that is on the character of Pearl. You see, Pearl grifted the entire space. Rollo feels that she's grifted from everybody, including him. He tried to maybe work with her. She double-crossed him. That is his issue with her. But it's not just her. It's King Riches who probably feels that way. It's Auntie Jenny who feels that way. It's Sarah Garvey. So at least Pearly Things, or Just Pearl, or Pearl, at least can treat, you know, Rollo Tomasi in the same way that she's treated some blacks, right? That's the thing. See, Tomasi thought he was going to be different, and then he found out that he was the same. Now he's upset that she's the same. She treated him the same. Sorry, bro. People treat you like that when they don't like you, or they're just using you to get more credibility. Sorry, bro, but it doesn't make much sense, since you will support Fresh and Fit who do the same goddamn thing. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. I appreciate you for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.